Hello, welcome back to Rooted at Badger Rock's virtual workshop series. We are actually starting our garden series now because right now it is the last day of February, but when this workshop posts, it will actually be March. So spring is right around the corner. We're getting our garden ready, or we'll be getting our garden ready soon. We're getting all of our seeds planted, all of our seeds started right now. And yeah, just looking forward to the warmer weather and getting the garden going. But also something that happens in the springtime, especially once it starts getting warmer out here, we like to tap maple trees. We like to gather all the sap. We like to make maple syrup, any other kind of maple products out of it. And yeah, it's a really cool learning experience and just a really cool thing to do as well. Right now, this past week, it's been above freezing during the day, and it's been really warm actually. So some of the nights it actually hasn't gotten below 32. But it's those nights when it's below 32 at night and above 32 in the daytime. That's when the sap will really start flowing in our trees. It has to do with a lot with pressure in the air within the trees as well. So at nighttime, all the trees like to take in all the sap when it's really cold. So it takes in all the nutrients and water, brings it up into the trunk, into the branches. And then once it gets daytime and it warms up, all the sap will start running back down into the roots. And then that's when we really want to start getting our tapping our trees, is when we're getting that sap to flow down in the daytime. And so with today's demonstration, I'm going to show you how we tap our trees. We actually got them already tapped today, but I'll show you what our steps would be anyway. These ones are actually starting to run a little bit, so we can kind of see the sap flowing as well. And then just coming from myself, I'm also Native American. I come from the Ojibwe tribe, Forest County Potawatomi, and then Ho-Chunk Nation as well. And just a very common theme throughout a lot of native tribes is they tap sugar maples. They collect sap. It's been a staple in their diets for millennia. And yeah, I just wanted to give you a little bit perspective of how I see tapping, and just to show respect before we take something from a tree or anything in nature. So with that regards, I just wanted to show you what I like to do, or what most people in native culture will do, is we make an offering before we take anything from nature, such as maple trees, for gardening or for hunting, or even just asking of anybody for anything in life. I'm a living creature. This tree's a living creature. We both deserve respect, and we don't want to just take something and be greedy. It's not a good moral. It's not a good value to live by. So for natives, something we use in our culture is tobacco. Tobacco is what we use as kind of like a currency, but also it's kind of our giving system in a way. We use it for prayer. Anytime we offer a prayer, we make a meal, we want to ask something from somebody, or we take something from nature. We always want to give a little something back. So this is our symbol of giving something back, having an equal transaction. And then with this, you just want to make sure to do it right. We place it in our left hand, a little bit of tobacco there so it doesn't blow away. Doesn't have to be a lot, but again, just symbolizing that we're giving something before we take from our tree. And I always like to send up just a little prayer, or just talk to our tree, our other friend right here, express that what we're going to do is we're going to take their sap, but we're going to use it for our benefit of bringing us life, giving us energy, and helping us get through everyday life as well. So we're really appreciating what this tree is offering to us, and we're giving back a little something for that as well. So with that, I'll place our tobacco down by our tree just at the base. And so now we're equal, and we are now fair game to have a little bit of sap. Again, in native culture, we don't take and take and take. We take what we need, and then we just use what we have there. We don't ever want to take too much from the tree. We don't want to hurt it. We want it to be able to live its life as well, and continue on offering or supporting us and giving us life as well. So that's all done. Now we can start tapping our tree. Again, we already tapped this tree. Currently, we're on the north side of the tree. A lot of times you want to tap on the south side of the tree because that's where the most sun gets at it. Again, kind of with that warming and cooling of the tree, and then the flowing of the sap, the warmer side is going to have a little bit more sap flowing usually. But as you can see, we have a fence right here in the back side of Badger Rock. On the other side is a residential house. So we only have access to the north side, unfortunately. But it will still flow, maybe just not as much, but that's no problem. And when it comes to picking a spot to tap, usually we'll try to tap it in line for every year that we do it. just so that we're not hitting it at different spots and kind of maybe hitting at different veins maybe in the tree. But for these ones, we already tapped. Actually, we can feel a little bit of sap coming in this one. So we'll check that in just a second. But what you're going to need for tapping, usually you want to have a drill, maybe a 3/8, a 7/16 drill bit. That's about how big our spiles, our taps are. And then when we drill, we want to find our spot. And instead of drilling straight into the tree, we want to make sure we drill at an angle. We go into the tree. We want to go about maybe 1.5 inches to about 2 inches so that we hit deep enough so that the sap will start flowing then. So we want to do it at an angle, about 1.5 to 2 inches. We'd have our hole, and I'll just take this one off to show. Then we would insert our tap right here. Make sure it's at an angle. Give it a few more taps just to get it in all the way. I think this one, oh yeah, there's a little bit of sap flowing out of this one. You can see it. So these ones are going. Just a slightly hint of sweet, otherwise mostly just tastes like water. So yeah, so that's just the basic demonstration of how we tap our trees. Again, we have these bags here that collect all our sap, the little hole you hook up the spot or the tap to. And then each day we'll just check these and make sure if there's any sap. We'll collect them in buckets. And then for boiling the sap, we usually get big pans. Here at Badger Rock, we have big hotel pans so we can cook over the stove, or if we have a fire, we can cook over a fire as well. And then we're just trying to get it down to around, I think, 219 degrees is what we want for boiling the syrup, or boiling the sap to get the syrup. And then usually around, I think, 30 to 40 gallons of sap will make about 1 gallon of syrup. And then that goes for different trees too. Different trees, I should say, different varieties of maple trees have different sugar concentrations. So the ones we have here at the Badger Rock are silver maples, actually. Most people kind of think of sugar maples when they think of maple syrup, obviously, sugar in the name. But for us, we have silver maples. They still offer plenty of sap, but it's a little bit less concentration of sugar, so you're going to need a little bit more sap, usually. Maybe around 40 to 50 gallons to make 1 gallon of syrup. And then, yeah, for identifying trees, again, probably the easiest way is if it's during the summertime when the leaves are actually blooming. Usually they look like 3 or 5 point leaves. If you've ever seen the Canadian flag, the leaf that's on the Canadian flag, that's a maple leaf. And then also looking at their buds, or where the leaves will come out. So on their branches, like right here, we have 2 branches starting to come out, and they're on the opposite sides of each other, but they're in line. So this is usually pretty indicative that this could be a maple tree. Whereas a lot of other trees, they'll have branches coming out one side here, maybe one side up here. So they're opposite, but they're not the same angle. So if they're coming in a line like this, you might most likely probably have a maple tree. Again, looking at the leaves is a big indicative. But if you're not sure and it's your first time tapping, maybe try to find, come over here. It's a little windy out here on this day. But yeah, if you're a first time tapper and not sure exactly if you have a maple tree, try to consult someone who maybe does know, or, try to look it up online as best you can. Because a lot of trees do have sap, but not all of them are going to have sugar sap like maple trees. So it might not be what you're thinking the syrup's going to taste like if it's not a maple tree. And then lastly, just to kind of continue on with my native perspective of things, I always like thinking about the legends that tell us of how syrup came into our native culture, into our native people. Woo! It's getting windy out here. But there's a legend saying that of the Anishinaabe people, who are the Ojibwe people, that long ago there was a time when actually these trees, they didn't have sap, they actually had syrup, like the syrup we think of today. And you would just break off a branch and it would just flow right out of it, and you would just have fresh maple syrup coming out of the tree. This was long ago, and then one of our great spirits, who we say walked the earth, came and checked in on our people. And he found that a lot of these people were a lot of our native people were just laying under the tree, breaking off branches and just drinking the syrup straight up. and they had drinking so much syrup that they were just getting fat and they couldn't even move. They weren't even moving anywhere. They were being really lazy. And our great spirit, his name was Nana Boujou, and he was the one who saw this and did not like what he saw. So in order to fix it, he went and put all of the maple trees, he filled them with water to water down the sap. And so then it would make it a lot harder to get the syrup out of it. You had to boil it down, which means you had to chop wood, haul the wood, make a big fire. You had to boil all the sap, watch it all the time, take all the sap out from the trees. It's a really heavy process. So it just really put natives back into working for something that was so easily available. And then it really taught us just how important it is to not be greedy like that and just take from something. You got to put into work to actually make something good and take the benefit out of it. But that's kind of just a quick overview of how it came. And yeah, I really like thinking about those stories. They're just they make me feel good and make me have a better appreciation of our relationship with the sap and maple trees and syrup as well. And yeah, it's a really fun time out here. I really enjoyed tapping our trees. We got to do this with all of our students this week at our Badger Rock garden class. I'm looking forward to being able to boil more sap down and get some syrup out of it. But I think that's about all I got for now. It's getting really windy and a little chilly out here, so I think I'll wrap it up for now. But thanks again for checking out our tapping demonstration, as well as joining our virtual workshop series. And we'll see you again for our next one.